Welcome to the Explainer. Let's just dive right into the massive mystery that's completely defining the 2026 tech job market right now. Look, if you're anywhere near the product management space, whether you're looking to get hired or you're a leader who is desperately trying to fill an open role, you've absolutely felt this fundamental shift happening right under your feet. Things that used to work, they just aren't working anymore. So today we're breaking down exactly why the old system broke, and way more importantly, we're giving you the evidence-based playbook you need to actually survive and thrive in this totally new era. To really grasp the sheer scale of this issue, we just have to look at the numbers. In early 2026, LinkedIn tracked a staggering 42,000 open product manager positions. Just to put that into perspective for a second, that is literally double the count from the exact same time last year. Now, on paper, this sounds like incredible news, right? It sounds like a total gold rush for product talent. But here's the catch. It's really not. Companies are posting these jobs, they're filtering through thousands of applicants, and then they're just letting the requisitions age out and expire rather than actually hiring anyone.
And that leads us straight to the core paradox we're unraveling today. Why, despite a massive abundance of candidates flooding the market, are these roles just sitting completely empty for 6 to 12 months at a time? It turns out that massive talent shortage everyone was panicking about a few years ago wasn't a lack of human beings at all. It turned out to be a completely different kind of shortage.
Section 1. Hiring signals collapse. A broken system.
To find our culprit, we really have to look at how the reliable signals hiring managers used for the last decade have completely broken down. Honestly, AI tools have made it trivially easy to fake a perfectly polished resume. Think about it. For the last 10 years, a PM's resume told a highly legible story. You shipped features, you owned a roadmap, you leveled up from APM to senior PM. But today, the signal-to-noise ratio has basically evaporated. Hiring managers literally cannot tell the difference between a candidate who actually did the hard, messy work of shipping a complex product and someone who just ran GPT-4 over a clever prompt template to generate the perfect bullet points. The baseline for a quote-unquote good-looking resume is now available to absolutely anyone on demand. And this fracture isn't just happening with resumes. The job itself has literally splintered into 4 completely different disciplines. It used to be that the title PM meant roughly the same thing anywhere you went, but the landscape has completely fractured. We now have the traditional generalist owning the roadmap, the AI PM who's defining and evaluating model features, the platform PM focused on internal developer tools, and the AI Ops PM who handles edge case failures for deployed systems. So what does this mean? It means an excellent candidate for one of these roles is a terrible hire for another. Companies absolutely know this, but they just don't know how to filter for it accurately. So the roles just sit open. You can actually see companies reacting to this in real time. Just look at LinkedIn. They completely killed off their old siloed associate product manager path. Gone. In its place, they launched a product builder program, which explicitly trains generalists across product, engineering, and design right from day one. The old predictable path into the industry, it's officially dead. Companies are adapting their training because those old definitions just don't map to the reality of building software today. Section 2, the specialization salary gap, where legibility pays. This total collapse in hiring signals has severely agitated the market, and it's led to a massive financial divide. Get a load of this data point. We're not talking about a minor fluctuation here. This is a completely different career trajectory. AI-focused PMs who produce crisp, quantifiable evidence are closing job offers way faster, and they're commanding nearly double the compensation of traditional generalist PMs. We're talking about $245,000 versus $123,000. Why? Simply because specialized roles produce highly legible signals. A track record of shipped machine learning features is incredibly easy for a hiring manager to verify and evaluate. So here is the crucial takeaway. While companies desperately want generalists, those people who can hold a product together across a bunch of different functions, the evidence of being a good generalist is super diffuse and really hard to read on a modern resume. Because of this, the market is practically forced to pay a huge premium for legibility over raw ability. The bottom line, if you can definitively prove what you do, you get hired, and you get paid way more. Moving on to Section 3, assertion versus evidence, the proving ground. Okay, this brings us to the most profound shift in how product management is evaluated right now. The difference between landing a job and just getting completely ignored isn't your resume length anymore. It is the brutal specificity of your methodology, your timeframes, and your outcomes versus some vague claim that anyone could generate. Think about it. Saying you drove a 20% increase in retention is just an assertion. An AI can write that in its sleep. But saying you ran a 4-week experiment, reached statistical significance, and measured a sustained 22% lift in day 14 retention, now that is evidence.
In a market flooded with AI-generated fluff, hiring managers are using this level of extreme specificity as their ultimate filter.
This quote really cuts straight to the core of this whole era shift. The strategic intuition that made PMs so incredibly valuable just a few years ago can now be produced on demand by literally any stakeholder using AI. For years, you could succeed just by saying, hey, my intuition says users want this feature because you were the person closest to the customer. But today, every single executive has a large language model on their phone that can spit out a highly plausible sounding strategic insight in 3 seconds flat. The competitive advantage isn't the insight anymore. It's the rigorous evidence you have to back it up.
So to actually survive in an AI-augmented organization, PMs have to actively build habits of evidence that executives can see and actually trust. You've got to document what you believed at the very start of a project. You need to record exactly what happened. You have to show how you updated your view based on the data, and you've got to make that entire chain of reasoning visible to the rest of your team. The product managers who are absolutely crushing it right now, they're treating their decision-making process as a product in itself.
All right, section 4. Let's get into your action plan and your exact next steps.
Let's lay out the exact playbook you need to run with today. If you're a candidate, you must avoid the murky middle at all costs. You've got to explicitly pick a lane, either go deep as a specialist or go explicitly wide as a generalist, and then do the uncomfortable work of documenting your thinking publicly. Treat it just like an engineer treats their GitHub. Don't water down your resume with buzzwords you can't back up. Pick a lane, own the identity, and build a public portfolio. Write up a product decision. Share a case study with real hard numbers. Make your thinking visible to the world. Now, flip the script. If you're the one hiring, you've got to stop looking for outdated title conventions. You need to replace those easily faked behavioral interviews with signal-dense, time-box case studies. Look, if your roles are sitting open for 6 months, you are almost certainly asking for skills that no longer predict success, like, say, building pretty PowerPoint decks. You need to be brutally specific about the role you are actually hiring for. Try swapping out that generic, tell me about a time you had a conflict behavioral screen for a sharp 30-minute walkthrough of a past decision the candidate actually made. I guarantee you the signal you get will be exponentially higher. Whether you're trying to get hired or you're pulling your hair out trying to fill a role, executing these 3 precise steps this month will put you way ahead of the curve. Number 1, audit your resume today. If an AI could have written a bullet point, trash it and rewrite it with brutal specificity. Number 2, pick just one past decision you made and write it up publicly. Just the discipline of articulating it develops that muscle of evidence. And number 3, for the hiring managers out there, redesign the top of your funnel immediately to prioritize actual work sample evidence over empty assertions. What's really cool is that new tools are actually emerging to support this exact shift. Take Specky, for example. It's an AI workspace that helps PMs show their work so their evidence stays highly visible and actually compounds over time. This is a perfect example of where the whole industry is heading. Instead of major decisions getting lost in endless Slack threads or dusty old documents, these tools are evolving to connect research, experiments, and outcomes into a living product graph. It is all about making the invisible, messy work of product management highly legible. At the end of the day, your job title might be exactly the same as it was a decade ago, but the day-to-day reality of the work, it has entirely transformed. It's no longer just about coming up with the right answer. It is about proving it. The evidence is the job. So as the market begins to stabilize, I want to leave you with this to really think about for your own career path moving forward. Take a hard look at your daily habits and your resume. Are you relying on outdated assertion, or are you doing the uncomfortable, gritty work of building real evidence? The window of opportunity to set yourself apart is wide open right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start building that evidence today. Catch you next time.